Hello everyone, thanks for joining. Today I'll speak about my journey into NativePHP. But first, who am I? My name is Yves, I'm a Swiss developer, and I did my first website in 2002. It was my school website, like trying. And then I founded my company, Be Interactive, in 2011. I'm a bicycle traveler, developer, and like I say, like to say, a clean interface conceptor, lover, and I'm part of the Laravel Swiss Association. And what we'll talk about today, it's my journey with app development, then with NativePHP, some of the challenge I had along the way, and a demo, and then what's next about the future of mobile and desktop application with NativePHP, and the conclusion. So I did published my first app to the App Store a few weeks ago, so I'm very proud. But how it all started. So we have to go back a few years before, and if you remember, on 9th January 2007, Steve Jobs was unveiling the iPhone to the public at the conference, the Macworld conference. And then the years that followed, there were this worldwide developer conference where I learned about mobile application, Objective-C languages, and what you can do with the mobile. I had the privilege to have one of the first iPhone that was released, the iPhone 1. And so I could play with it, but just with the application that were available at that time. A few hundreds, I think. And then I was like, okay, let's learn Objective-C. That was the language used for developing iOS application. It wasn't named iOS at that time. And maybe you know this guy from lynda.com, very smooth and very nice voice, but I've spent hours and hours with him learning and try to learn a few years. And yeah, it was kind of difficult for me because I didn't have a developer background. It was all self-taught. So I was learning what I found on the internet, and yeah, I struggled. And if you see here, I already started developing in 2010, 2009. So it's really long time ago. And yeah, first attempt, second attempt. So yeah, and for me it was way too difficult to really achieve something. So after a few years of trying, I just put it aside, and I started more like web development, and yeah, PHP and WordPress at that time, and then Laravel came out, and I start following this path. And as you saw just before, it already was called Popcorn. And why Popcorn? So just a little story. I love movies. I love watching them. I was collecting DVDs, over 500 at that time. And I was thinking, yeah, I have to collect them and organize them in sort of kind of database or stuff. And that was the idea, to create this application about movies, about my collection. And so yeah, I tried. I still have the folder, I still have the project. So I tried to open, but yeah, it's not working anymore, but it's really an old project. And the icon you see here is the icon I made at that time. So it's yeah, really, really old. So I tried and tried. And as I told you, I left over the iPhone version. So I made a small website that I was collecting my movies and yeah, some favorites and stuff like that. Really basic MySQL application, PHP simple. It's still working today because it's so simple. So I had just to change the way it connects to the database, but it's working. So yeah, I'm kind of proud of this small side project. It's my first really like big project for myself. And then as I told you, I was working with Laravel, PHP, learning stuff and so. And now we make a time jump to 2023. And this year, Marcel Porcio released NativePHP to the world at Laracon US. And for me, it was like some kind of start of becoming a game changer. I was like, oh, you can start developing desktop application without learning new stuff, like nightmares came back. And okay, maybe that could be interesting. And this year, Simon Hamp also did a talk at Laracon U. I was there, and he started building mobile application with PHP and native PHP. So I'm like, okay, that's becoming interesting for me, and maybe something is coming. So yeah, native PHP for desktop, for mobile, 10 years and more PHP experience with the Laravel ecosystem. Yeah, a few weeks ago, I thought, maybe let's bring my popcorn application back. So now it's the demo time. Okay. So as you can see, I'll just close this. This is a Laravel basic application. It's a simple API application where you have the controller, the models, everything you need. And inside the controller, you have, for example, item controller. And for getting the item is like the movies. And you can, I get the items from a distant server. And that's for now, it's nothing related to native PHP for iOS. You have to install a package, and then you install it, and then it gives you here an iOS folder with all the files related to native PHP. So it creates an Xcode project inside your application, Laravel application, and then when you build your application, it takes your Laravel application and bundles together inside your Xcode project, and then it releases it as a mobile application. So it's quite simple to build mobile application this way, because you still have to create your Laravel application like usual. So if you want to create like an API application, it's nothing new. I did this a lot of times. And so I just had to add this project and then switch to Xcode to make it work. So let's switch to Xcode. Here I have the Xcode project, which is called NativePHP. And you are inside a panel called General, where you can set all the stuff you need to publish your application once it's done. So I skipped a bit the process of building the application because it's an API application, so probably every one of you knows this. And here, when I build I'll just share the phone. So you can see this is my iPhone. And when you build the application, you can choose on which device you want to simulate, the application, the simulator or your own device, which is kind of practical. So now it's building. As you can see here on top, there's a lot of steps. Sometimes it's failed, sometimes most of the time it's success, hopefully. So it takes some time. Come on. Build succeed. Phew. And then you can see it's installing on your device. Okay, a few more seconds. And now you have the application, and it launches itself. Then it's in debug mode. Now here you can see inside the debug tool that some information about Laravel are throwing out, like migrations, like artisan storage link. All this kind of stuff are working and are called when you build the application. And then you have your application. And since it's an API call, you can just connect with the information. I can't remember how it's the at symbol. Okay. And voila. Then you have your application working. And since it's an API call, you can use it on the web, you can use it on this device, you can create another application. It's all API, so no problem. You can just take your code and put it on any other project, and it will work. So in a few days, they will release the Android version. And for myself, since I already have the project, I just have to update, put probably the stuff I need to configure with Android devices, but it will work the same way as this one, because it's not related to the device. It's an Laravel application, API application that runs on any device. This application, you can find it now on the Apple Store, so it's quite an achievement for me. As Simon Hemp told us, it's probably the second app on the App Store that is made with a Laravel structure and published and accepted on the Apple Store, which is, and still is, yeah. I did, the last update is from yesterday, so I was still working on it, so yeah. And for example, I told you before that they were building desktop application, so I have also the desktop application running, and same, you can just connect. And you have the same results. It's the same structure. For now, it's two separate applications because of the way it's built. But in the near future, they probably will put everything together. So you will have only one project that will then dispatch on the devices you need. When you build for desktop, you can choose between Microsoft, Apple, Linux, I'm not sure. But yeah, you choose on which platform you want to publish your application. And then, for example, here I have some, to demo the application, I can search for movies. For example, for example, this one. And I want to watch this movie later, so I can choose a playlist, a wish list that I've created. I can take a note. And it saves. And then it shows in your collection of movies. And then you can, for example, okay, I've viewed this movie, it was great, or it wasn't great. You can watch some information here with some synopsis if there is provided by a distant movie API. Or you can come back on the dashboard. Also, why I did create an API other than a local database with SQLite, it's because I wanted this feature of sharing movies throughout the user. So you can see here there are some other users, mostly from myself, but you can see the movies added by other people as well. So you can see it's like a small social network. So it's kind of fun. Okay. I did also, now I can speak about the struggle that I had. It was kind of difficult for me to come back to Xcode, and a lot of things have changed. The language is not the same. Now it's Swift. It's all other things to imagine. And for example, here you have the, I'll just share it a different way because it's not working with the phone sharing. Okay, so I can, for example, you have here in the settings, you can upload, if you want, your profile picture. And since it's not a way that the Laravel uses, it's not on a web server, some stuff are not available. For example, uploading files with Livewire you're starting having issue with the sign URL because it's not an HTTP classical request. So when you try to upload, it will work until you try to store it on the device, and then you have a 401 error because no, it's not a valid URL signature. So I had to find a way around for now because it's a known issue. It's the same with inertia. They're working on it, the NativePHP team. But I've found a way, so let me show you how it works. So, hop. And use the photo. Now it's working. And since the pictures are squared, I have to crop it. So I can choose it like this and save. And now if I come up and I refresh the UI, you can see the profile picture is now set. But how I did this? Because I had the Livewire component for the avatar uploading. And when I stored the temporary file, I had this bug. So I chose to convert the file to a base 64 encoding. Then I send it to the API, and I do the cropping with the information of cropping on my server, and then I send it back with the API call. So it's like a detour. But for now, it's working. We'll see if in the coming days or week there is a solution with this problem, because I think a lot of developers that will start to work with Livewire inside their mobile application will face this issue. So probably in the coming days or week, we'll find a fix to make it work. So, yep. How did I manage to publish the application on the App Store? When you're ready, when you have your application, I'll just stop here the building. You have to open, of course, your Apple developer account with you're paying $100 a year, so it's quite expensive. For myself, it's more like a hobby project for now, for testing, and we'll see if I keep this alive in a year. But once you have all the information provided, like bank account or legal stuff or anything else, then you can create your I'll change just my profile, it will be easier. Okay, here you have the dashboard of the Apple Developer Portal, and then inside your apps stuff, you have the application that is stored, and then you can create a new release. You call it whatever you want, for example, v.1.8.9, and you create it. And now it's a new application waiting to be validated, to have the build and all the information this new version has. For example, if you have new screens, you can upload the screens of the application. If you have a description, you can also tell the people, sorry, it's in French, I couldn't change the language, but nowhere you can change the language. Here's the new stuff you have added in this version, and a lot of stuff. And then here you have the build. So when you're ready, inside Xcode, you can go to the Product tab and Archive. You create an archive of your application at this moment in time. But you have to be careful because of the versioning. So if I come back here, hope you can see quite well because I couldn't zoom inside Xcode. So here I have the version 1.0.8. So I have to change this to 9. And the build is the first one of this version. And then you can choose a lot of settings if you want your application only in portrait mode or landscape or the minimal deployment, the iOS version required, stuff like that. So now I'm ready, and I can build the archive. Again, this process will take some seconds, I hope, to build, and it will make the, as you can see here, it's a lot of steps, and then when it's finished, in a few seconds, one thing I can mention during the waiting, it's the submission process is very, very slow. Don't be in a hurry to publish a new feature because all you do with the Apple Store is really slow. Like building the application already is quite slow. Yeah. But when you come from a Laravel building perspective, when you just hit save and then it reloads everything, and it's quite a difference when you have to wait a few seconds. So I just rename here popcorn. And then you can here distribute the application. Here you have multiple possibilities. I haven't tried every one. For myself, I'll choose the App Store Connect. You can also, the test flight is like for testing purpose. You can create groups of developers who can have access to the application early, which is a good thing to do. I will explain why just in a minute. So distribute. Now again, we wait a bit. So it's quite a long process, and yeah. Also, when you have submitted your application to the App Store, you have the validation process by the Apple team, which also can take 12 hours or more, depending on if you're on the weekends or holidays or anything. I don't know how they're working there, but yeah, it's quite slow. So if you have, for example, published a version that contains a bug, then when you try to fix the bug and release the bug, and when it's published, your user can have the bugs like for a few days. So be careful with that because it's really annoying for the users, and yeah, when they experience the bug. Probably I haven't searched about it, but maybe if you have a really big bug, you can maybe contact Apple, maybe pay in something that will do the process a bit quicker. Probably, knowing Apple, but not sure. So yeah, still very long process. I wanted to demo the process in front of you, but yeah, I cannot, yeah, I could have done some screen, but so you can see the the pizza are on the way.
To feel the pain.
Yeah. And yeah, you never know when, then you will receive an email, okay, we got your application, now your application is in waiting status, then you got another email, okay, you're ready, and then a few hours, days later, okay, now we have started to review your application. And then you wait again, you probably know, okay, in the few hours, coming hours, it will be okay or not, but yeah, you still wait. So, ta-da! And now if I come back, now the bundle is like processed. It's not even there if I refresh the page. See the process. I still have to wait until this bundle specifically is available. And then when it's available, I can here go to my test flight tab. And here I have all the versions. As you can see, we have here the version 9. And for example, here, I have every build that I made. And then when you have this bundle available in the test flight tab, you can download a test flight application, and then you can test. It will install the application on your device, and it will be the same as the one that will be released. So it's very important to test before, because if you don't find a bug during your release, then you have to submit the process all over again if the Apple team refused your application. So better take some time to test this on your devices, on the devices of your friends or colleagues. But yeah, you will save sometimes on the submission process. So that's the way I will stop here the submission process, but you get the idea probably. Okay. Phew. What's next for me? It's improving the code. The API is quite slow for the user experience. When he clicks, it sends the API request, it comes back. So it's quite, the user are used to have an interface that is quite quick. And with this kind of behavior, it's quite slow. So I have to find ways to optimize the API response to make it quicker. And also the test, how can I test the code? And also the feedback from the community is very important. We have a Discord channel with the native PHP folks, so we can interact with people asking questions, showing stuff, and having feedback is very important. And now also what's next is the new ideas. It's almost endless. You can imagine almost anything. For now, it's some of the, as you saw, the file storing or uploading stuff that maybe have to be fixed. But once it's working, it will be, you can do almost whatever you want. So it's quite amazing. And also learn and gain the experience from the community. One guy just published a timer application with NativePHP on the channel, and I just opened the project and was like, wow, he did in a way completely different as I did, and which is really great, and you can learn stuff. Okay, he went very far into the NativePHP stuff, so it's quite amazing to see the process. So it's really cool also to gain from here. And sharing the knowledge back also. I like now to speak in front of you to tell the experience I had with NativePHP on the channels, on the social networks, anywhere I can. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer.
Questions over here. Hey, did you face any issue when you bundle up the code to generate the files?
When
you wanted to bundle the Laravel files, did you face any issues or challenges in the building phase?
I had first, when you look at the documentation, you have an artisan command to build like I did in Xcode. It's the same as this one, build, and you have this artisan native run, or yeah, it's run, and sometimes you have the timeout. You have a timeout execution because it's taking too long from the command to run. I don't know why. There is a lot of question about this inside the Discord community, and the fix is underway. But other than that, I didn't have any issue, except the Apple refused some of my proposition because there were some bugs when they tested the application, but not directly on how I built the project.
Okay, thank you. So they have their own kind of runtime, because if you go to timeout, they use their own runtime, not your server, not your local server, right?
Yeah, I think I can't remember what they say about. It's 300 seconds by default, but I'm not sure I can change this, or it's in the Composer project. But I'm not sure exactly where. But,
yeah, okay.
But now if I run this command now, you can choose a device, and I can choose my device. On the list, there is also the simulator. And if I choose my device, as you can see, it starts building, and at some point on the build process, it will fail because of this timeout. Almost every time, even here, probably if I let this run, we'll have this issue.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
For myself, it's really you build all the stuff you need within the Laravel application like usual, and then for the building process, you switch to Xcode, you check everything should be configured normally, and then you build from there. And I've never had issue with this way.
Got it. Thank you.
Any other question? First of all, congratulations on your. It was a long time in the making. I have two questions. Did you ever learn Swift?
No.
No. Okay.
Not yet.
And will there be a password reset possibility, because I did not store my password when I signed up on your app?
I removed it for now because I haven't created the functionality with the API.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I thought so, yeah.
It will have. It's a basic Laravel Flux UI, so they had the login and the resetting password. But yeah, I don't know.
Cool.
Any other question?
Okay, yeah, thanks, and congrats on releasing the application. I have a few questions, but I try to keep it brief. My question is related to like the exposure, or even not exposing, like stuff that you have typically in your .env file. So, for example, you mentioned you use it basically. It's an API app, right? So you're calling some server that has a database, but when you built it, it migrated something. So
yeah, it's the default migration from Laravel.
Okay.
But I haven't touched the migration, and it's not used because it's not the local database. So I could delete the migration files in this case. Yeah.
Okay, so but technically you could use a local SQLite database. Okay.
But if I did choose the local, I cannot access the other profile. I mean, but it could. If now I change to a SQLite, it's the only driver accepted. Yeah. It will work without anything. I should change every endpoint, because now it's every endpoint is external.
Yeah. So yeah, I see the pizza's arriving. So my next question will be the last one. So in order to access your API, you probably have some sort of credentials, which are probably stored in the .env file as well.
There are no credentials because it's with Laravel Sanctum.
Oh, okay.
And you're just, with your credentials, you're connecting to the...
Okay.
Yeah. So it's simple and nothing. When you build, you can... I will stop the process. As you can see, it's still running. So it's quite slow. You have an artisan, native. can't remember it. Clean env, and this will clean the
okay, yeah, okay.
So it will remove all
Mhm.
the stuff it doesn't need.
Okay.
So it's,
All right. Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you.
thank you very much.
Any other question? Then big applause for Yves.